What's up, everybody? How are you? The attendance tonight was 14,424. I want to say Nazim and Moda. Total strikes landed 98 versus 84, which is a crazy pace.
Jon Jones just did something nobody in MMA actually believed he would do. Not his haters, not his fans, not Dana White, not even Tom Aspinall. And the way it happened is somehow worse than the rumors. Because this wasn't a call-out. This wasn't a press conference moment. This wasn't even a fight. Jon Jones, the man who built an entire career on never backing down, looked at the biggest payday of his life, looked at the most dangerous heavyweight on the planet, and walked away. Then he tried to take Tom Aspinall's name down with him. And the part nobody is talking about, the part that's making fans lose their minds right now, is how personal this got after he was supposed to be retired. Because what Jones did to Aspinall didn't end when he hung up the gloves. It got uglier. It got pettier. And tonight, we're breaking down exactly how the greatest of all time may have just done the most damaging thing of his entire career.
For a fight that ended in the second round, 65-64 headshots and combined 159 strikes in round one. And then the Moda combination that was different, but it's like 75 punches in that ballpark. I'm giving them all the money tonight. So they're getting $100,000 each. They're getting all the money. Congratulations to those two. Who's got the first question?
Dana, over here to the right.
Yeah.
Hello.
This is the moment the entire heavyweight division flipped on its head. Dana White, standing at a podium, saying the words MMA fans had been waiting 2 years to hear, and the words they never actually wanted to hear like this. Jon Jones officially retired. Tom Aspinall, officially the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. No fight, no build-up, no closure, just a sentence. And the second those words came out, the reaction was immediate, because nobody saw a clean handover. They saw a duck. They saw a legacy move. They saw the most decorated fighter in UFC history walking away from the one man he was supposed to silence. And before fans could even process it, the rumors started flooding in about money, about pressure, about what Jones really told the UFC behind closed doors. And that's when this whole thing stopped being a retirement story.
On the East Coast, but I had to get with you. And today's episode is brought to you by Total Wireless, the official wireless provider of UFC. They're in your corner with unlimited 5G data that won't slow you down. Oh my goodness. Jon Jones just walked away. Dana White announced it after the UFC fight night in Baku, Azerbaijan. Said he is officially retired and Tom Aspinall is the UFC heavyweight champion. Unbelievable. I didn't think that it was going to happen this fast. I mean, Jones then puts out a statement that said, today I'm officially...
Daniel Cormier doesn't get emotional on camera anymore. He's been a broadcaster too long. He's seen too much. But this hit different. Because DC isn't just analyzing. He's the one man on earth who's been in the cage with Jon Jones and knows exactly what this kind of move looks like. And when he called Jon a quitter on his own platform, that wasn't shade. That was a verdict. From the guy who said for years that Jon was the best to ever do it. The respect between those two? Gone in one sentence. And if you're sitting there wondering why this story isn't just about a retirement, hit that subscribe button right now. Because the next layer is where Jones starts showing his hand. Because retiring quietly is one thing. What Jon did after retiring is what made this whole thing detonate.
So they're getting $100,000 each. They're getting all the money. Congratulations to those two. Who's got the first question?
Dana, over here to the right.
Yeah.
Hello. Right here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
First of all, congratulations on amazing event in Azerbaijan. What was your first expression before arriving here and after the event?
Yeah, so not just me, but everybody who worked this fight, all the fighters, all the corners, this place is incredible. I'd never even heard of this place until we did the deal here. The city is beautiful. The hotels are unbelievable. The food is off the charts. And
Dana White tried to sell this like a clean ending, smiling, laughing it off, calling Jon a legend, saying the fight was basically done before it wasn't. But you could see it on his face. Dana knew exactly what this looked like to the fans. He knew the locker room was watching. He knew Aspinall was watching. He knew every fighter on the roster was doing the math. If Jon Jones could ask for $30 million, refuse a fight, and walk out clean, what does that say about how the UFC treats champions versus how it treats stars? But Dana said the line anyway. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion. And that's where the real problem started. Because the man who just got handed a belt didn't want it like this. He wanted blood.
Looking to retire instead of fighting Tom Aspinall, which means we might not be getting that fight, as it's all up to Jones, right? Tom wants to fight, the UFC wants to fight, the fans want to fight, everybody wants to fight. The only one that didn't agree yet is Jon Jones. He's the only one that's stopping this fight from happening. He did say before why, right? He said that Tom is too big, he's in his prime, he's too dangerous, why would he fight him? He's already done everything in his career, and okay, sure, he doesn't have to fight Tom, but then vacate the title and allow the heavyweight division to continue.
I had heard a rumor that Jon Jones wanted $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. And I did hear that rumor.
Then Joe Rogan opened his mouth on the podcast, and the entire fight world stopped scrolling. Because Joe Rogan doesn't just talk about Jon Jones. He's defended Jon Jones for over a decade. He's the guy who told the world Jon was the best ever on every major platform he had. So when even Rogan started saying out loud that something didn't smell right, that's when casual fans started believing what the hardcores already knew. This wasn't retirement. This was an exit strategy. And Rogan was about to drop a number that turned every comment section on the internet into a war zone.
Somebody beats him at heavyweight. You know, what he did to Stipe, and then, you know, he beat Cyril Gane with a blown out knee, and then just lips. See you later.
See, I think pound for pound, and we won't ever find out. I think Tom Aspinall is the best. I think.
Well, who knows?
I think Tom beats him.
Who knows if Jon beats him? Jon might beat him up.
Yeah, he could.
Jon might take him down and fucking ragdoll him on the ground, like, you know.
Jon easily could, because we don't know how good Jon is either.
And we also don't know what happens to Tom Aspinall in the third, fourth, and fifth rounds.
He's
we have zero
because
idea.
no one's gotten there.
No one's even gotten close.
There's so many question marks. Like, we don't know how good Jon is.
Right.
You can't tell me Jon's the best.
$30 million. That's the number that leaked. That's the number that Jon Jones allegedly asked for to step in the cage with Tom Aspinall. $30 million. For one night. And the UFC said no. That's the version the world heard first. But here's where it gets weird. Because Jon didn't deny it. He didn't downplay it. He didn't even pretend the number was wrong. He just framed it differently. He said his goals weren't traditional anymore. He said most fighters wouldn't turn down $30 million. But he's not most fighters. And when you hear a man say that out loud about a fight he was contractually expected to take, you stop hearing a champion. You start hearing someone looking for an exit and a headline at the same time.
Ariel reported this. He knows for a fact the UFC offered Jon $30 million because Jon was like, I want 30. So he goes, I want Wilder money. I want Deontay. His exact words is, I want Deontay Wilder money. The UFC at first goes, you're fucking crazy. Then some money came in from the Middle East. They went, we'll pay that $30 million. And the UFC call him was, all right, bud, we're gonna call your bluff. We came up with the 30. We'll give you 30. And he goes, I'm out. That's a fact, Jesse. He turned the fight $30 million.
And this is the receipt that broke the internet. ESPN confirmed it. Jon Jones rejected $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. Not a rumor, not a leak, not a hot take. Confirmed from his own mouth. The richest single fight offer in heavyweight history, sitting on the table, and Jon walked away from it. And the second that hit the timeline, every excuse Jon had ever made about Aspinall, every claim that the UFC wasn't paying enough, every claim that the timing wasn't right, every claim that he needed more notice, collapsed in real time. Because if you turn down $30 million, the conversation stops being about money. It starts being about something else entirely.
I didn't know that, he would allow for or would be able to handle what comes with making this decision right now and the optics of it, Brett. Do you understand what I'm saying? What it looks like to people. I didn't know that his ego would be able to handle walking away. I figured he would fight based on that. But he didn't. And it's crazy. I said something the other day, Brett, and I don't want this to be like me crapping on Jon Jones, but I said something on my YouTube channel. I said, if Jon Jones doesn't fight this guy, he quit, right? He quit. I said that. And he did. He's out of the game. It's crazy.
It's interesting to me that, like, you say that.
Daniel Cormier said the quiet part out loud. He looked into the camera and asked the question every fan was already typing in the comments. Is Jon scared? And before anyone could even argue, DC laid out the case. The avoiding, the radio silence, the constant moving of the goalposts, the number that suddenly became impossible to meet, the retirement timed perfectly to avoid the one man Jon couldn't game plan around. And the most damning part? The man who once said he'd fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, was now demanding a 6-month minimum camp just to consider showing up. That's not retirement. That's protection. And if you're still on the fence about whether this was a duck or a dignified exit, stay with me, because Tom Aspinall's reaction makes that question almost impossible to ignore.
See you on Piers. So it's nice that you actually made time for the little people.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. We made it, actually. We actually had a terrible journey. It took us 32 hours to get here.
Why?
First of all, let me start off by saying British Airways.
Shite.
Okay. Boycott British Airways.
Really?
Terrible.
That bad?
Terrible. First class seats. Made it to the gate. So originally we were flying Manchester to London, London direct to Vegas. That was the plan. The first flight was delayed from Manchester to London. Right?
Yep.
This is Tom Aspinall talking about Jon Jones for the first time after the retirement. And the calmness is what makes it hit so hard. No yelling, no social media tantrum, no fake heel turn. Just a heavyweight champion telling the world that he waited 2 years for a fight that everyone in the sport knew was the biggest fight that could ever be made. And the other guy quit before the bell even rang. Tom didn't have to call Jon a coward. He didn't have to use the word duck. He let the silence do it for him. And the way he asked for 2 fights instead of 1, that wasn't ego. That was a man who lost 2 years of his career and wanted them back in front of a paying audience.
Thailand was the end of it. We were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
Is it accurate that there's a lot of reports about figures he was offered? Is it fair to say he was offered a lot of money to take this fight?
Yeah. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight. Yeah.
I'll just come out and ask you, do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again, he's never...
But here's where the story stopped being just about a fight. Because Dana White went on camera and confirmed something that changed the entire tone of this saga. Jon Jones reached out to him privately, apologized, admitted he was wrong about how the Aspinall situation played out, and Dana, the guy who fought tooth and nail to protect Jon for years, wasn't having it anymore. The relationship that built the greatest light heavyweight run in UFC history had a crack in it. And what Dana said next about Jon's legal trouble and the timing of all this made fans start connecting dots they didn't even know existed. Suddenly, retirement looked less like a choice and more like a corner Jon got backed into.
Takedowns, he was just one step ahead until the third round. In the third round, Rambetsky took him down, got on top and brutalized him. Landed like 7 elbows in a row and just ground and pounded the hell out of him. There was blood all over the place. And then it turns out afterwards, after the fight, because Ludovic Klein won a decision, 29-28, that he's broken his foot. His foot was bent all the way back. That's why he couldn't get back to his feet, but he showed tremendous heart. Ludovic Klein's a tremendous fighter as well, so fair play to him. Right now in the background, we have Ikram Aliskerov taking on the Iron Turtle, Jung Young Park. I'll be back in a second when this one pans out. Aquilin Salkid just knocked out cold Nasrat Haqparast. Holy...
And then UFC 321 happened, And the universe somehow made the story worse. Tom Aspinall, finally getting his first defense, finally getting to prove on the world stage that he was the real champion, got an eye poke from Cyril Gahn in the opening minutes. No contest, no closure, no statement win, just a swollen face and a frustrated walk back to the locker room. Michael Bisping called it for what it was, one of the most heartbreaking nights for a champion in modern heavyweight history. And the worst part? Jon Jones was watching from his couch, free, retired, untouched, and about to do the most disrespectful thing he'd done in years. This is the clip that lit the fuse. Jon Jones, hours after Aspinall's eye poke disaster, hopping online to do exactly what fans were afraid he'd do. He didn't show sympathy. He didn't stay quiet. He didn't even pretend to be classy. He trolled. He started suggesting Aspinall didn't really want it. He started questioning Tom's heart in a fight that was literally stopped by a finger to the eyeball. And then he turned around and accepted a call out from Alex Pereira for a White House card he himself isn't even signed for? That's not retirement behavior. That's not legend behavior. That's the behavior of a man who knows he ducked the wrong fight and is now trying to rewrite the narrative in real time. And then Jon went further. He went on a podcast and called Tom Aspinall overrated, said his wrestling was overrated, said his jiu-jitsu was overrated, called him a quitter. The same Jon Jones who didn't show up to fight him for 2 straight years, calling the heavyweight champion a quitter. And Michael Bisping, a former champion himself, a guy who pulls no punches, heard the clip and reacted in real time. And his reaction said everything. The disbelief, the frustration, the exhaustion of an entire fight community watching one man's ego try to tear down the legacy of another fighter who never even got the chance to defend himself in the cage. If you've been holding off on subscribing, this is the moment to do it, because the receipt that comes next is the one Jon Jones never wanted you to see.
And fans that I have let down. Shout out to Oliveira for doing his thing. All class, so nothing but love to him. No excuses from this side, and there never will be. I've been here before, I know the work I need to do to get back to where I want to be. We are far from done. See you guys at the top. Paddy Pimblett has offered a surprising prediction for the upcoming clash between Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje. Speaking in a recent YouTube video, Pimblett shared his thoughts on the matchup, suggesting that Gaethje could pull off the upset and defeat Topuria. Pimblett pointed out that the fight represents Gaethje's final opportunity to capture a UFC title, which could make the veteran especially dangerous and motivated heading into the bout.
And then my 2 mates in the main event, Ilia versus Justin. Ilia did say he was going to come back around this time, so June.
Then came the move nobody saw coming. Jon Jones, supposedly retired, supposedly done, supposedly at peace, went on social media and asked the UFC to release him from his contract. Asked to be let go. Said he'd been lowballed. Said the negotiations had been going on the whole time he was telling fans he was finished. So which is it? Were you retired or were you negotiating? Were you done or were you holding out for a bigger bag? And in the middle of all that chaos, the man who should have been the angriest in the world, Tom Aspinall himself, did something that made this story take a hard left turn.
Perfect for him, and obviously Justin Gaethje said himself when he was fighting me, he wants to beat me and then go on to fight on the White House, and he's done it. You know what I mean? That's off to him. He said he was going to do that. That's a scrap. You know what I mean? They're going to come out and they're going to try and take each other's heads off, but everyone's already counting Gaethje out, and we've already learned you can't do that. I don't know, I've got a sneaky suspicion that Gaethje might pull off an upset here and surprise everyone. As you know, it's a fight. It's a fist fight. It can go either way. Anyone could beat anyone. In the White House, he's probably going to have a little bit more motivation to go out there and win, because it's in front of his presidents in his home country. We'll have to see how that one plays out, because obviously it's big implications for the rest of the division. I'm obviously going to be watching that, I'll have my eye on that, but I'm going to be focused on it.
Tom Aspinall, the guy Jon ducked, trolled, insulted, and tried to bury, actually defended him publicly. He went on record and said the UFC needs to give Jon the respect he deserves financially. He said it sounded crazy. He knew it would sound crazy. He said it anyway. And that's when fans realized something they hadn't fully processed yet. Tom Aspinall has more class in one sentence than Jon Jones showed across 2 years of negotiation. The internet split immediately. Some called Tom the bigger man. Some called him naive. Some said he was finally showing the kind of championship dignity Jon Jones never extended to him. Tell me which side you're on in the comments, because this is the moment the narrative officially started turning.
It was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
Is it accurate? There's a lot of reports about figures he was offered. Is it fair to say he was offered a lot of money to take this fight?
Yeah. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight. Yeah.
I'll just come out and ask you. Do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again. He's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody. And, I think the reality is.
And Dana White had to address it again. Because every press conference for the last year has somehow circled back to Jon Jones. Even after retirement, even after the contract drama, even after Aspinall's eye poke, Dana stood up there and tried to close the chapter, and you could see it in his shoulders. The fight he wanted more than any other heavyweight fight in his career was officially never happening. Not now, not later, not at the White House, not anywhere. And Dana, the man who can sell a fight out of thin air, finally admitted the truth out loud. The fight was done, until it wasn't. Until Jon walked away. And that admission did more damage to Jon's legacy than any loss inside the octagon ever could have. Grill. Daniel Cormier is asking him to talk, to perform, to give the fans something. And Tom does what champions do. He holds it together. He doesn't cry. He doesn't lash out at Gon. He doesn't even bring up Jon Jones by name. But every fan watching that interview knew exactly who he was thinking about. 2 years of waiting, one eye poke, a retirement, a retired man trolling him online the same night. This was supposed to be Tom's moment, and somehow it was still being defined by Jon Jones. And that, more than anything, is why this story refuses to die.
Jon Jones retires.
What do you think you can do to make that fight happen?
Me personally, I can't do anything. I think it's just down to money.
Jon Jones is about to walk into the most dangerous reality check of his career, and the shocking part is that he's the only man acting like the danger doesn't even exist.
Life is good. This is my work office. Easy day.
UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones is living it up in Thailand, filming reality shows and sipping coconuts like a man who refuses to acknowledge the storm building behind.
Yeah. I'm over here.
But here's where the whole thing flipped one more time. Because just when fans started accepting that Jon Jones was gone for good, that he was a retired man with a damaged reputation and nothing left to chase, the rumors started again. New camps, new social media posts, new cryptic messages, the phrase "I'm back" floating around the internet. And suddenly the same fans who buried Jon weeks ago were asking the question nobody saw coming. Would Jon Jones actually return to face Tom Aspinall after all of this? After the ducking, after the insults, after the eye poke, after the public collapse of his relationship with Dana? If you think the story can't get any messier from here, drop a comment, because the people who know combat sports best are telling you it absolutely can.
longest time I was so confident that this fight was going to take place. I thought Jon was really just playing the game and getting everybody baited and really pushing Tom to his limits mentally and making him work hard in camp, in and out of camp, and not knowing what's going to happen. But now, I just do not think, based on what Jon Jones himself has been saying on social media, I don't think that it's going to happen. It's very unfortunate. I just wish there was clarity. I wish Jon would just come out and say, I'm in or I'm out.
Yeah, I think you have to take the signs that the boss man Dana White has given you. Dana White has always been very optimistic because of the previous conversations that he has had with Jones. Jon Jones at some point did verbally agree to this fight, and that's why Dana White was so confident about it. But now when you
ESPN MMA's panel went on air and asked the question every promoter, every analyst, every casual fan, and every hardcore was secretly asking. How long does the UFC actually wait? At what point does the company stop building around a fight that may never happen and finally let Tom Aspinall move on with his career? Because Aspinall is in his prime right now. Every month wasted is a month off his championship window. Every fight delayed is a chapter taken out of his legacy. And the longer the UFC keeps a slot open for Jon Jones, the more it confirms what fans already feel in their gut. The company still thinks Jon is the bigger draw, even now, even after all of this. And that's the unspoken disrespect Tom Aspinall is fighting against in every single interview he gives.
38 sold out, $8.09 million, the highest grossing gate ever at the arena. The fight of the night was Vettori and Allen. Performance of the night, Islam, Gautier, and Carly. Yeah, okay, they all won $50,000. Congrats to them. And it was a tough one between Vettori and Kevin Holland's fight. Yeah. Huh?
I'm the main event as well.
Huh? Yeah. A good point. Very good point.
We'll start with the main event. Another BMF title fight that lived up to the hype, right? The two guys go in there.
And then Dana White finally said the line that ended any remaining hope. He said he couldn't risk Jon Jones at the White House. Not won't, couldn't. The biggest card in UFC history. The card the entire sport is being built around. And Jon Jones, the man who was supposed to headline it, is too unpredictable, too unreliable, too much of a liability for the UFC to even bet on showing up. That's not a legend statement. That's not a goodbye. That's a damage control statement from a CEO who's already moved on. And the second Dana said those words, Tom Aspinall's path forward got crystal clear. Jon was no longer the obstacle. Jon was officially the past.
Your son, and they could lose an eye, and their health, and they've got children to look after. Something needs doing about it. Yeah, it's horrendous for me to look at that.
In the 21st century, a weapon will be invented like no other. Better, stronger, faster, unstoppable. He has only one purpose: win fights.
These are the things that are coming off the top of my head when I do my final predictions or who I think is going to win. I looked at all these things to see.
You lost the strangle already now.
I was Tom Aspinall, and then I was his trainer. I'll look at, okay, so when he tries to get up, he's going to try to buckle up. We got to look for that. He's going to.
And Tom Aspinall finally spoke up himself. Not in an interview, not through a reporter, direct to camera. He thanked his fans, he addressed the eye poke, he addressed the doubt. He addressed every single person trying to write him off because Jon Jones never gave him the fight. And the way he carried himself, calm, grounded, focused, was the strongest argument against everything Jon Jones had been saying for the last year. Because this wasn't an overrated fighter. This wasn't a quitter. This was a champion who had every reason to lose his composure and refused to give Jon the satisfaction. And by the time you finish hearing him out, the question stops being whether Jon ducked Tom. it becomes something much bigger.
Right now, and when you have a year off, good things could happen when you look at it. Certain injuries have time to heal, and you're able to add elements to your game that you haven't been able to do when you're in fight camp. Fight camp is when you break down the body. When you're off for a while, you could add new tools to the game. So I think next time that we see him, he's going to be not only invigorated to fight again, but have new tools and be bigger and better as well.
I like your glass is half full mentality because I think the glass is half empty. I would have loved to see him fight Jon Jones. And if it's not Jon Jones, I would have loved to see him just get out there and compete. And I'm sure, yes, he has evolved. In the time away, he's become a better fighter. His body has not been as broken down, but I very much am still a competitor. And if I'm healthy, I want to fight. So I can't imagine being a guy in Tom Aspinall who's hungry to fight.
And now the heavyweight division has to figure out what's next, because Tom Aspinall is the champion. The eye poke is in the past, Jon Jones is in retirement limbo, and the contenders are lining up. Pereira flirting with a move up, Gane circling back for a rematch, even names like Olberg and Volkov getting whispered. But every single one of those fights now exists in the shadow of the one that never happened. Every defense Tom makes will be measured against the asterisk Jon Jones tried to attach to his reign. And that is the cruelest part of this entire story. Jon Jones may not have beaten Tom Aspinall in the cage, but he made sure his name would haunt every single chapter of Tom's championship run.
Right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, congratulations on amazing event in Azerbaijan. What was your first expression before arriving here and after the event?
Yeah, so not just me, but everybody who worked this fight, all the fighters, all the corners, this place is incredible. I'd never even heard of this place until we did the deal here. The city is beautiful. The hotels are unbelievable. The food is off the charts, and the people are amazing here. It's been an incredible experience. Michael Bisping was telling me tonight, he keeps telling his wife every night how great this place is, and they're going to come vacation here.
So here's where we actually are. Jon Jones, the most accomplished fighter in UFC history, walked away from the biggest fight of the modern era. Tom Aspinall, the most feared heavyweight on the roster, got handed a belt he never wanted handed to him. Dana White, the man who built this entire empire on big fights, is now selling a heavyweight division without its biggest possible main event. And the fans? The millions of people who tuned in for years, hoping to see the fight that decides who the real greatest of all time really is, are left with nothing but clips, podcasts, and a permanent question mark. What Jon Jones did to Tom Aspinall wasn't a single moment. It was a slow-motion act of legacy destruction. 2 years of stalling, a retirement that didn't feel like one, a $30 million number that nobody can unhear, public trolling after an injury, insults toward a man who literally couldn't fight back. And then, when the dust started to settle, a sudden request to be released from his contract that contradicted everything he just said. Tom Aspinall didn't deserve any of this. He earned that interim belt with the kind of dominance fans hadn't seen at heavyweight in a generation. He showed up to every press conference. He took every fight that was offered. He defended Jon Jones when nobody else would. And his reward for all of it was being made to wait, being made to doubt, and being made to share his own championship moment with a ghost. So tell me in the comments, did Jon Jones protect his legacy, or did he destroy it? Did Tom Aspinall handle this like a king, or did he let Jon walk away too easily? Will Jones ever actually come back, or is the I'm back act just another round of mind games? If this breakdown made you see this whole saga differently, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter, and stick around, because the second Tom Aspinall steps into that cage again, this story is going to explode all over again. And when it does, we're going to be right here, breaking down every second of the fallout. Jon Jones did the unthinkable to Tom Aspinall. The only question left is whether the sport will ever forgive him for it.